Hello, all, and welcome to the fourth edition of the Soccer Reviews podcast, the only soccer equipment related podcast in the world. On this get together, we talk about the upcoming Adidas Nitro Charge, the Nike HyperVenom, and also the Nike Premier. We also have the first ever Soccer Reviews Boot Awards to showcase the best of the boot world from 2012. And we really hope that you enjoy this podcast as much as we enjoyed making it. We got things kicked off by discussing what football-related movie happened to be our favorite. Hi guys, this is Andrew, and my favorite footy movie of all time has to be the classic, incomparable Big Green.
Oh,
Wow.
I don't know if Jordan even knows what that is.
I actually don't.
It's a fantastic.
Yeah.
It's probably geared more towards kids that are half my age, but it's hysterical. You need to find a link online and watch it sometime.
Right.
You're pushing it there with half your age. It's probably a fourth year age. That's probably the target audience.
Hey, I'm not that old yet. All right, Ben, what's your favorite footy movie of all time?
I'm not actually a big fan of footy movies, to be honest. But if I had to choose one, it would probably be Miracle Match. It's not that well known of a one, but it's about United States team and its first World Cup team that beat England in the Brazil World Cup. So I'd probably have to go for that.
So, g'day guys. It's Jordan here again. So my favourite football film has to be The Damn United. So that was about Leeds United in about 60s, 70s when Clough took over as manager. And he had a few personalities in that team, Billy Bramer, etc. And he had to do it all without his assistant manager, whose name I really can't remember. But it's about, true football history and how he goes on to win the European Championship at Nottingham Forest and things like that. And, you should probably get around to it if you haven't seen it. Did that one work?
Yeah.
I have it on DVD, but I haven't watched it. Is that terrible?
Maybe if you're part English, has a piece in your heart. Not like you Americans would understand.
But I think you have another movie in mind as well, United, about the Munich air disaster.
Yeah, definitely that as well. I mean, yeah, okay, it's sad and you might cry, but it's a brilliant film.
Yeah.
And I remember when it was aired in England, there was I think there was some idiot Manchester City fans who, did posters about it at games, but
Yeah.
it's just a part of England that everyone has to know about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for any of our listeners that have not seen United, I actually checked before we did the podcast, and it is available on Netflix for anybody that has that service if you want to watch it. It really is a good film. Jordan actually mentioned it the other day while we were talking on Facebook, and the next day I went and watched it. It's really, really good, and if you have Netflix, just search for it. It's called United, or you can probably find it in most of the sports movies.
So let's get to the meat of the podcast, the part that I'm sure everybody loves, the leaks. So because we haven't done podcasts since last year, there's actually been a few leaks that have come out since then, and we've got some big headliners today, including one exclusive to Soccer Reviews that a lot of people are speculating on, but we have the actual legit info on it. So should we start with probably the biggest Adidas one that we've got here, the Adidas NitroCharge?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Right, so the Adidas NitroCharge, it's going to be running alongside the Adidas LZ2. I think Ben knows quite a bit about this because he spotted someone in the boot a little while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Adidas NitroCharge, it's going to be pretty much Adidas going back to what the Predator used to be. So it's got power capabilities within it. It's going to be pretty much within that band. So we imagine it's going to be a bit like, how should I describe this? It's hard to describe how it's going to work. Like most
Predator
boots.
X
It's
meets an Adipower.
Yes. It's like trying to describe the Sen Stud. You can't really.
Yeah.
But it's no, it's going to be pretty much Adidas going back to traditional Predator, but it won't carry the Predator name. It's going to be a brand new silo from Adidas. So that means that Adidas is now going to have the power silo, which is going to be the Nitro Charge, a control one, which is going to be the LZ2, and of course the Heritage, 80 Pure, and Speed 80 Zero.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I have heard is I've actually heard a a suspected weight for it is actually going to be closer to 9 ounces. So it's definitely going to be a step back into a heavier power boot instead of like where the Adipower was still considered a power boot, but they definitely tried to whittle the weight down so that it was lightweight, but also still had that slight element of power.
Yeah.
So that'll be closer to the weight of the old Predator X, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Was that about 9 ounces?
It was right around 10, if I'm
I think
not
it was
mistaken.
10. Yeah, like 10.2 ounces, somewhere around there.
Okay, so definitely just a little bit lighter than the Predator X.
Yeah,
I mean, that's probably a good thing considering people are complaining about how light boots are these days.
Yeah.
Like everyone's got over the lightweight craze, I've noticed.
Mm-hmm. And just to go back to your point before about you kind of touched on the specs, just the that one power band type of thing.
That's right. Yeah.
But something to note is it will be a hybrid touch upper if my sources, aka the internet, are to be believed. So I do believe it's a hybrid touch upper, and that would make sense because Adidas, along with the other big manufacturers, are aiming to reduce their kangaroo leather use by like 99% or something like that, unfortunately. And so a hybrid touch upper would make sense. Part of the reason why I was so hesitant before takeover talking about the Nitro Charge is I was a little persecuted on that post by a commenter. So I didn't want to, get in his grills. So
That's all right. I'll take the 4 for you.
Yeah, thank you. That's why we have it. So
Yeah.
I think the Nitro Charge should be an interesting move. But what do you guys think of Adidas really moving the Predator range making it a control range?
I mean, for me, the Nitro Charge is a boot that would be, 5 years ago, Gerard would be the one advertising it. But Gerard's getting a bit over the hill these days. I'm sorry, Andrew, if I made you cry just then.
It's all right.
So it's going to be interesting to see because the main Predator wearers, Chavi, I can't see him wearing it. He's not that sort of player. Van Persie might, but he's still wearing the Predator X, the
Adipower.
Predator, Adipower, sorry. Lost my mind, yeah. Adipower. And I'm not too sure who's a real power player wearing Predators who might wear the Nitro Charge and is a good, headline athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm going to be looking towards when those boots get released.
Well, the main rumor I've heard about player sponsorship and who's going to wear what actually is Robin Van Persie will move into the Nitro Charge and take over that range. Obviously, that slime colorway, the Adipower, kind of has a special spot on his heart. But I think the Nitro Charge is a lot more similar to the Adipower just based on the shape of the boot than the LZ, and he might like that type of fit and sleeker look. I'm not sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's the head of that silo.
Well, who knows?
Yeah.
For all we know, Adidas could have planned this all. There's been speculation on every major website, including ours, about why in the world has Van Persie stuck with these boots. And of course, everybody just says, well, he's scoring every time he touches the ball in these boots. Why would you change boots if you were doing this? But maybe, for all we know, Adidas sat him down because it's still ridiculously strange if he's contracted with Adidas that they wouldn't have said, look, buddy, if we're going to pay you money, you're going to wear new boots. Mm-hmm. And who knows, they may have sat him down and said, all right, here's our plan. We're going to come out with this new pair of boots. And what we want you to do is seem all stubborn and not wear the LZ. And then as soon as these boots come out, you're going to switch into them immediately. So everybody goes, oh, well, if he gave up these that he's just scoring week in, week out with, these things must be pure quality for him to choose these over those. So, we'll have to see.
I think that might be a eureka moment.
Yeah, that guys look into the mind of the manufacturers through the words of Andrew
McCall. Wow, I got to give it to you there.
Yeah, this is where you need that dramatic sounds going on.
Shall we move on to the competition then?
Yeah.
The other side of the table. So we got probably the first one we should look at. It's the one on everyone's lips, the Nike HyperVenom. So we've taken a look at the boot and we think we know a bit about it. So, okay, first things first, it's going to replace a T90. We know that. It's just that there's a few things about it that make it totally different to the T90. So one thing that Nike is really going to push on is that this is going to be a boot that's all about getting to the ball first and then finishing the play. So it's got a few things like, a really nice, what they call a future fit, which is pretty similar to the fit of the Nike Mercurial that locks in your foot. So it just keeps the boot close to the foot. It's got really good traction. That's why it's got a weird stud plate. And it's also got that really distinct dimpled upper. So apparently it's got advanced materials that are lightweight and they feel supernatural, using Nike's words right there. So it's all about making sure you feel the ball, and then you're able to finish it off with apparently what is a cleaner strike area and a nice strike zone. And it's going to have ACC as well. And what do you boys think of it?
Oh yeah. So I'll just hop on in here. Jordan pretty much mentioned all the specs and everything. Just something to mention is the upper will be called Nike Skin, so a totally new thing. He mentioned that it'll be dimpled. And something we were talking about with the Nitro Charge, the faces rather, of this range will pretty much be the young squad that was featured and chosen to present Nike with the Green Speed 2s. And so that'll include Neymar, Götze, and Eden Hazard, are three names I can pretty much confirm will wear the boots.
If you plan on kicking a ball boy, the Nike HyperVenom.
Exactly. That's one of the main specs. It says excellent. Let me see. Delivers excellent control when kicking the abdomen.
Time wasters beware. Nike comes out with HyperVenom. I think it'll be very interesting because once again, Nike are going to kill a silo that it's not the Predator silo. Killing the Predator silo, as people thought they did with the LZ, was something that was similar to phasing out the Copa. I think that was the outcry. The T90, people will care. I don't think it'll be quite the same level of the Predator, but it'll be huge. People will be upset. It'll take them a little while to take to the HyperVenom. And just like the LZ, it's going to have to be a quality product. If Nike swing and miss on this after taking away a silo like the T90 series, something that, when we see Wayne Rooney and we're talking boots, there's nothing else that we think about except that he's wearing T90s. When we see some other players that constantly wear T90s, then, that's been going on for years. And for them to kill it, if the HyperVenom, to me, if it is not something that people are raving over 2 weeks in, if it takes just a little while to even get up off the ground, it may be one of the biggest flops that we've seen. It has the potential to be huge, and it also has a massive downside. It's a huge risk for Nike, which I think we can all agree, if they're going to take that big of a risk, then I'm really excited to see the type of boot that they've chosen to do that with.
Exactly. Yeah, I think
something that something that Andrew said, which is certainly interesting. What do you think Wayne will be wearing? Because I personally can't see him wearing this. What do you guys think he'll wear then?
Honestly, he could fit into. I realized, Jordan, we actually talked about this on Facebook the other day, and at the time when you first mentioned it, like I said with Wayne Rooney, you just can't imagine him wearing anything else. And I think that's why when we were talking about it the first time, you just couldn't imagine him in anything. But when you kind of step back from it and you give it some time, I could see him in a Tiempo or in a CTR 360. The only thing is what do Nike do? Because Rooney's come to expect a level of exposure and the money, I'm sure, that goes along with that. So is there a silo that they can shift him into that they would be comfortable saying, here's the type of player that wears this boot?
Can I just say, Andrew, there's going to be a lot to edit with this podcast because there's a lot of gold.
Well, it's because you bring the three smartest minds together.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fireworks are bound to happen. Anyway, the last leak we have for you today, we Actually, we may have.
Is it exclusive?
It is exclusive. I've just recently started seeing pictures creep up online, and most of those pictures, unlike what we're about to tell you, they have no clue. They're missing completely. Nike is about to release a boot, and this boot is actually available right now. It's a very cheap youth-only boot. I don't know if you guys knew that. But if you wear youth sizes, this boot's actually available right now, but it's not going to be the quality that it will be once this moves over. Nike are releasing a direct competitor, not kind of, oh, we'll get kind of close tiempo to the Copa. They are releasing something that will go head-to-head with the Copa called the Nike Premier.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan, what's this boot made out of again?
Okay, so it's going to be a premium leather upper, which I can tell you now is a goat leather upper, which, I wonder if that's what the Puma King is made out of, now that they say premium leather. But anyway, Nike are going to go about this, and they've said, we want to make the best boot on the market for under $100. So that's what they've done here. It's got, we can tell that when Nike are going to market this boot, it's going to be, look at the Copa. It's so old, so feeble in the corner. This is the new version. It's like this. They say it's got a new futuristic upper, new fit, different sole plate that's lighter, stuff like that. And it's going to be, a real look at what we've got and look at their old thing.
Yeah, from what we've seen, and at Soccer Reviews, we've seen exactly what they're going to do. Like Jordan said, not only are they going to kind of it's not kind of a, hey, this is kind of better, and like you see in a lot of commercials, they kind of mention something like, this is a horrible example, but if you've ever seen a paper towel commercial, they'll say, compared to the leading market brand. But in this case, from what we've seen, Nike are actually going to have, in the background of pictures for the premiere, pictures of the Copa. So they are going all out saying, this is exactly what this boot's going to replace. This is exactly what it's competing against. Adidas and Nike have never done that before. The CTR has never said, hey, look how much better than the LZ we are. The LZ, marketing people have never said, look how much better we are than the CTR. This boot is going to be the first boot that the way it tries to garner respect and attention is by saying, hey, you see that boot that everybody loves over there? Well, not only are we better than that boot, but we've basically taken everything good from it and improved it into this new boot.
Mm.
Yeah,
So,
there's no beating around the bush. They pretty much straight up say what the purpose of the boot is, which is to compete against the Copa, and then I think their whole marketing campaign will actually be comparing the two, like direct comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
It'll certainly be very interesting to see because it's one of those boots that we'll test at Soccer Reviews and other major places will test them, but if you talk to anybody that's played the game for very long, they all have a Copa story. Every single one of them has a Copa story.
Yeah.
In fact, I've talked to people who they're like, I don't know, I used to have this pair of boots and they were my favorite boots, and they'll start to describe them to me. And I don't know if you guys have had this happen, but they'll start to describe them because they're not really boot nerds. And they'll start to describe them like, oh, you mean a Copa. And as soon as you say it, they'll go, that's it.
These uneducated people.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Now that we've gone over some of the leaks, we're going to get into some of the boots that we're actually in the process of reviewing right now.
But, of course, we've got a speed boot that isn't formally released yet, and I hate him for saying for that, but Mr. McCull's got the Vapor 9s.
I actually have my hands on a pair of Vapor 9s, and I got them in the Fireberry colorway, which for those of you that do not like pink, and you think, oh, that's not really that pink, it's pink. It's pink, the picture, fades to purple. I think it's a beautiful boot, but for those of you who have struggled every time you've ordered from Nike in the last year because you go, oh, it says solar red. That's not pink. That's red. It's pink. All right? It's pink. It's surely, as I am talking to you right now through some form of YouTube or other form of entertainment, it's pink. I really like the look of it. I know everybody was freaking out about the Nike on the instep. I actually love it. I think it's beautiful. And as Ben, did you do the Nike ID
Yep.
post? Guys, it's a simple change. And this is stepping away from me talking about the boot. But I have to mention this because I think Ben mentions it in his post, and we'll link it when I eventually put this up. But on Nike ID, they have made it where you can make the swoosh and the Nike on the instep glow.
Yeah.
And I realize
Wow.
nobody's playing in the dark, all right? It's one of those things that you're going to sit at home and you go, oh my gosh, it glows in the dark. Still, it's one of those simple additions that, to me, I think that's just the coolest thing. But getting back to the boot, I think this boot is as good as the Vapor 8 was. This is a positive step in the right direction. The dimpled upper is great, and the double layer of glass fiber throughout the whole thing definitely gives it a nice bit of stiffness when you get it out. Unlike every other speed boot ever, I was able to wear these straight into a game, which is normally a death sentence for speed boots.
Yeah.
I'd come home crying, but these were great. Nike have made a lot of great improvements, and once again, to answer a lot of questions that we've gotten on some posts and some other stuff, I've actually seen a couple comments. The real boot is 2 layers of glass fiber throughout the entire sole plate. There is no carbon fiber. Anybody that is showing carbon fiber in a boot that they're selling, it's because those were in sample pairs. Either that or they bought a fake pair and got it with carbon fiber in the midfoot. But if you're looking for a legitimate pair, it's 2 layers of glass fiber throughout. So be careful when you see a $50 pair of Vapor 9s. They're probably fake anyway, but make sure it's got that glass fiber throughout. But anyway, Jordan,
Well,
if you get a
anyway.
chance at the Vapor 9, you're going to want to get it.
All right. I'll make sure I
Mr.
consider that, and I'll
Speed
try.
Uh,
No, I think I'm just Mr. Boot around my friends. So shall we get on to next topic for us? It's the first ever SR Boot Awards, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be this time next year. It's going to be the new Oscars
yeah.
in the
That's
football
understood.
boot world.
I'm gonna find a sound clip.
Probably.
It's some like amazing orchestrated thing that builds it up right before you say that. SR Boot Awards 2020. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Is that going to make the podcast? Because I hope it does.
Yeah, just put your own voice in. Don't take time to go look for something. I like yours better anyways.
I'm gonna layer it over so it sounds like an orchestra though. I'm gonna do every instrument with my voice. I'll do it.
So
How you gonna do the tuba from? How you gonna do that?
Boom, boom, boom.
yeah.
I got
I
it.
thought it'd be more.
I got
I
it.
thought it'd be more. How should I put it? Toilet jokes than that. If you know what I mean.
Well, anyway,
So,
moving on to
yeah,
the
that
first.
leads perfectly into our the three of our personal opinions, and that wasn't proper English, but our okay, sorry, just cut that out.
Leaving it.
Okay. Oh, that leads perfectly into Soccer View's Boot Awards of 2012. Just on our podcast, and the three of us think personally, and I'll start. Overall, I would have to say the best boot of 2012.
No, speed boot first. Speed boot first.
Best speed boot. Sorry, you interrupted me. I'm doing horrible. The best speed boot of 2012 for me, even though I'm not a big speed boot man, would probably have to be the Vapor 8. I only wore it once when I wore James's Mango colorway, but the suede upper just seemed fantastic, and from everything I read, they're incredible boots. So I'll go with the Vapor 8.
I'll jump in there next. And despite having Vapor 8s, and I was the guy that actually wrote the articles when the uppers would change, I would tell you the differences, and I also discussed durability updates. Despite loving the Vapor 8, and I had everything from the launch sale colorway all the way to the CR Vapor 8, and loving it, I have to give the best speed boot to the Puma Evo Speed, stepping away from the two big names
Yeah.
to the Puma Evo Speed because I have the K leather version. And I also recently got sent the synthetic, and to me, right now, if you put the F50 in front of me, the current one, and my coach, and the synthetic Evo Speed. Ben, I know you raved on the synthetic Evo Speed when you reviewed it. I would actually pick the synthetic Evo Speed right now between those two Adidas boots. And also the K leather option that I think still weighed 6.5 ounces. Is that 6.5 or 6.8?
No.
I can't be bothered to
I
check
wouldn't
that
have,
right now. I'm recording,
wouldn't have a
dang it.
clue.
Anyway, the fact
6.8, I think.
right, the fact that both those uppers I enjoyed so much, and to make a move away from the V111 series, which to me, although a lot of people love them and it was a good boot, it was flawed. I felt it was one of the more flawed boots that actually existed and was popular somehow. To move to the Evo Speed and how great that boot is, that's why I'm giving it the best speed boot of 2012.
Well, I'm very tempted to say the Vapor 8, and okay, admittedly, it's probably my boot of the year, but more on that later. I still think that I don't want to go mainstream like Ben.
Sorry.
I'm gonna actually go for the Mizuno Morley Neo. Can we consider that a speed boot?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the favorite boot I've ever had. Like, I actually love it. It is so good. So it's, I'm pretty sure it's pretty similar to the Evo Speed K Leather, but it's just this
I think
perfect
it's lighter.
combination of lightweight. It could be lighter, yeah, and it's just something that I love about it. All K Leather boots for me are hard to wash. You can never keep them 100% clean. But
Yeah.
for some reason, I think the upper on the Mizuno Morley Neo has like a lot of synthetic fibers to it, and literally it's just like one wipe of the brush, and wow, it's clean. And that's just a little thing I love about it. But besides that, I love driving with it. It's good to curl with. It's good for lofted balls because it's got a nice low toe box. There's not much more I could say about the boot. It's probably, I think it's the highest the highest score we've given for a boot this year, I think, the Morley Neo.
It's either
And
between that or the King SL, I believe.
yeah, those two boots, both K-leather lightweight boots. What
Yeah.
about that? They're both the favorite boots that we've awarded this year reviewed this year. And they're just brilliant, really. There's no other way of saying it.
So basically, your favorite boot gets it halfway because it's easy to clean. Just to clarify
Yeah.
for our
No,
listeners.
well, because it's easy to clean and I could pull out my Beckham-esque free kicks. Just ask my mates. They hate it. They hate it when I do my curling free kicks, and I can do them well the Morley and Neos.
Maybe next year we'll have easiest boot to clean award.
Yeah.
With that.
That's the real reason. So, Andrew, best colorway for you?
The best colorway of 2012, although it missed it narrowly, I would be giving it to the Volt T90 that is just about to hit. If that one was possible, I would be giving it to that. However, it just missed the cutoff date, much like Zlatan's bicycle kick for the Puskas. It just missed the cutoff date. So I am actually going, and pardon the southern connotation I'm giving the colorway, but I'm going with the John Deere colorway of the CTR 360, the Pine White Volt colorway. A colorway that when I saw pictures and when it came out, I thought it was hideous. Couldn't stand it. Didn't know what Nike were doing, and then I held it in my hands, and for some reason that combination to me is it's different enough. It's not a typical colorway. It gets my best colorway of 2012.
It's almost like you're talking about a baby. You held it in your hands, and
Yeah,
from
yeah.
that moment.
So you lost me at John Deere. Which one?
Well,
I'm sorry.
The Pine White Volt CTR 360.
So a part of that initial ACC.
Oh, the first ACC one,
Yeah.
the white, green, and yellow.
Yeah.
Actually, the
Yeah.
first CTR 363 was ACC. They were all ACC.
Yeah. But yeah, a part of
Yeah.
that initial ACC launch.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Well,
that's pretty much the first predominantly white CTO I've seen in quite a while, wasn't it?
mhm, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
So,
like that colorway too.
I'll stay with the poster boy thing. Sorry, Jordan. And I'm actually going to stay. Well, I guess the colorway is pretty much the same. The black, white, and photo pink, and then the blue colorway that featured on the latest CTR, but more specifically the CR7 Vapor. I just think that is a great set of colors that really blend well together. They're unique, and I like predominantly black uppers and black boots. So, but that nice, just little flash of colorway, I think, is the perfect amount. So that has to win my award for colorway of the year.
To me, that boot needs to be in an 80s film. As soon as I saw it, that's immediately what I thought. Is it needs to be in like either a Daft Punk music video or an 80s film.
So what about you, Jordan?
Okay, well, it's going to be a clean sweep for Nike. I've actually got two that I absolutely love. I loved the alternative launch colorway for the Vapor 8, the sail and saucer, the white with the blue tick.
Yeah.
For me, that's really reminiscent of the old Vapor 5, I think it was, that Ronaldo used to wear, and I loved those boots. And for me, it was good to see, Nike go back towards that. My second one has to be the Clash colorway Tiempo Legend 4. Yeah,
Oh,
4?
that
Yeah,
is
4.
classic.
Oh yeah.
That was beautiful. I mean, it's just white, black, that's the heritage boots in one colorway there. Just clean and classic, white and black. That's why I love that colorway. And
Okay.
I've actually managed to get my hands on those boots, and they're beautiful.
Okay, I'm changing mine. I'm sorry. So rather than the white black Tiempo colorway, I'm going to go for the blue ACC colorway. I think that one was fantastic as well. But preferably, I do like the white and black colorway from the Euro. So the Clash.
Oh, the Kentucky colors.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
wonder,
I
wonder why
know.
you would pick Kentucky.
Oh, by the way, in case no one gets that joke, Ben Perkins got selected, got a scholarship for Kentucky Uni, so that's why we are suddenly Kentucky supporters, and we're very proud of our Ben to get that scholarship, aren't we,
Thank you.
Andrew?
Brace yourselves for the next year for us to consistently support Kentucky, even though 1 out of every 50 listener and viewer of the website actually knows that college soccer exists.
Yeah. Well, that's a story for another time. We'll have more coverage about college next year, hopefully.
Yes.
So best.
What's next?
I would. So.
The most improved boot of 2012, obviously not going to be the 11 Pro.
I think
What was the most improved boot?
Andrew, you already answered for yourself. The V111 to the Evo Speed. So technically it's a whole new boot, but yeah, I'd consider it the same because it's just the same speed silo from Puma. I think I would have to stick with that. I might steal your answer again. I'm just not very innovative or creative today.
Well, for me, the most improved boot, like Ben said, although I would love to give it to the 363, the 362 was a quality boot, and everybody really loved it. So,
Yeah.
it didn't have enough improvement to be the most, and so I'm going to have to stick with the Evo Speed because to me, especially with the player uptake, some of the players that they were able to sign, I realize that has little to nothing to do with it. But when you're in the business like
Yeah.
what we do, where we write, and that stuff does start to play in, it starts to matter when you're writing about a boot. And the Evo Speed went from a type of boot with a V111 where if there were a few spotted, Jordan would end up putting them in the boot spotting because it was like, oh my gosh, this really great player wore a V111. Are we in for a huge signing for Puma? Whereas now, nobody questions that Sergio Aguero, Falcao, and these players, they're going to step out in the Evo Speed because it's a quality boot. So anyway, that's mine. Jordan, what is your most improved boot?
Okay, I've actually got two again. I can't decide. Let's face it, Superfly 3 to Vapor 8. I mean, come on, how much better is that? The Superfly 3 was a bit of a hack boot. The Vapor 8 was brilliant. Okay, it's got durability issues, but it's still a fantastic boot, and it's really good to see Nike strip back everything and go back to when the Vapor series was amazing, and that was when it was no carbon fiber, no Senstar, no flywire. Did I say that?
Yeah,
Carbon fiber. That's what I meant. So that's an improved boot. Also, have to say the Power Cat from the Power Cat 1.10 to the 1.12. You forgot that, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, it has to be Power. That was 2012, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That came out in 2012.
It was 2011, I think. It came out like November or something, but we'll count it.
It was like the Power Cat 1.10 and the Power Cat 1.12.
Yeah, that's got to be that's an improved boot as well. That's a terrific boot.
That leads into the next one, the best full company outing. So sounds like both of you are.
I think we've already answered that.
Yeah, I think we can all definitively say and agree on Puma. I'm completely fine with that one.
Should we go to the best leather boot then?
Kill it, Jordan.
Yeah.
Best leather.
You know my answer. I think we all know my answer.
Yeah. Okay. So
the easy to clean Mizuno Morley Neo.
That should be the advertisement now.
I can't help but think I'm going to be remembered for that.
Easy to clean, super lightweight, Morelia Neo.
You want to go next, Andrew?
Sure. Best leather boot for me has to be the Power Cat. Even though my most improved boot and best speed boot is the K, I love the K Evo Speed. The leather Power Cat, still, because of how the leather's shaped, I just don't know what to say about it. Besides, it's my favorite leather boot. Best leather boot of 2012 for me.
Okay. Well, I'll break my own mold now because Jordan is not too happy with it. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the best leather boot, although it's important to note, I haven't tested it, so that is something very important to note. I
probably should mention that.
Well, is the A6 DS K Lite. It was released right at the end of 2012, and I've actually been wearing it during this whole podcast. I got it yesterday.
Oh, wow, just being committed to the job. Well, I might just go and get my Adi Zeros then.
Well, I wasn't going to mention it, but now I have to.
Well, I'm wearing a Vapor 9 right now.
There's too much snow.
I've just got to get my green speeds.
Yeah. Okay. I don't throw around these exclusive cleats that I don't have. You're making me feel bad. Again, eating disorder or something.
Well, Ben, you're responsible for us having the hookup to be able to get them. That's your own fault.
Well,
you did it to yourself.
So the going back to the DSK Lite, I've been wearing them around the house because there's too much snow. So I'm just trying to break them in for a tournament I have in Las Vegas in a couple weeks. Point being, I'm pretty sure it is a very similar boot to the Morelia Neo. There's a lot of K-leather used in the upper, much more than your average boot nowadays. It's super soft, super light. I have yet to find any flaws with it. So I'm going to go with the DSK Lite, but as always, stay tuned. Things could change.
All right, and last but definitely not least is the best synthetic boot, and I'll keep mine short and sweet. Like I said, I'm going to link John's article to this because we answered a lot of these questions in there, and we also said our best boot of 2012, but hands down, CTR 363.
Okay. Well, I'll hop on.
I won't complain.
Oh, okay. I'll go in next, and I'll just keep it quick as well. My best synthetic boot is the Adidas Predator LZ.
Hybrid Touch.
Yep, the Hybrid Touch.
That's a good shout.
Hybrid Touch versus Kangalite 2.
What about you, Jordan?
I mean, can the green speed count?
For sure.
That is synthetic, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I just go for that because of the, the environmental message that Nike was able to really preach during the advertisement of the boot, and it's true. They've made that boot with minimal environmental impact, and we have to give Nike credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, it's actually not a bad boot. I mean, like, if it wasn't so uncomfortable, I'd actually love it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And a lot of it does have to do with that Kanglite, the new version Kanglite that they've got on the toe. It's absolutely terrific. So, yeah, that'd be my vote for the best synthetic boot, actually.
Interesting. Yeah. It might go under its own category of cocoa beans or whatever it is, castor beans.
Castor, yeah.
So you think if they can make it comfortable, it could be a real hit? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Absolutely, and I think the new Greenspeed was more or less the same.
Yeah.
So fortunately, they couldn't do it this time. But either way, it's still a quality boot.
That was all the time we had for the podcast on Saturday, and we really hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and give this video a like, and then go check out the website, soccerreviews.com. Keep an eye out for the next podcast when we try and incorporate some of the newest Soccer Reviews writers so that Ben and I have someone to make fun of besides Jordan. Once again, thanks for listening, and we can't wait to delve into the footy world again on the next Soccer Reviews podcast.